everybody, Brad Johnson here, and thank you so much for joining me for this online presentation today, as we're going to be bringing in the topic that Adronis is going to cover, which relates to that of from human to spirit. So firstly, I'm just going to kind of correct my camera here because I look a little too bright. So let me see if I can fix that here for a second. Beautiful sunny day where I am, so there we go. That looks a little better. Okay. So anyways, I want to thank you all for being here for this beautiful Saturday afternoon, at least where I am, for again another free online Adronis channeling presentation. I'm really looking forward to the information that Adronis is going to be sharing today. And really it just comes down to the point of what we must do, what belief systems we need to work on, understanding more about what it is to be spirit, helping us to understand the human equation a lot more, and really bettering ourselves on a road of empowerment, on an enlightening journey. And that is what this presentation is going to be sharing today, is how you can bond with the soul, how you can bond with the spirit, how you're able to move past the human equation and become human and spirit combined. So again, very, very exciting information. Before we get into today's presentation, I do have a special offer for everybody. Again, just as last month and the month before. So again, if you go to newearthteachings.com and you order any particular session you want, and you type in Adronis20 in the enter a promo code link, you will receive 20% off any session on New Earth Teachings. And this coupon is available until Monday, August 6th. So there are new sessions that are available on New Earth Teachings. That is the Spiral Akashic Viewing, and of course the EQ method, which is the third version of the light circuitry attunement that works together with a theta brainwave state, and so that is its unique property. And it's, again, a very, very powerful healing system, instant healing system. And so again, that's all available on newearthteachings.com. So again, when you're on the shopping cart page, type in Adronis20 in the enter a promo code link, and you'll get 20% off your preferred session. So that is available now up until Monday. So thank you everybody for joining me here on the live chat. If you guys are just tuning in anywhere else, just go on to the live chat if you want to ask a question to Adronis later on. So I just say for everybody, just write your question down and then copy and paste it once we get into the Q&A. We'll be getting into the Q&A in the latter half of today's presentation. So again, I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he is going to share information as it relates to the topic of from human to spirit. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. Hope you enjoyed the transmission. We'll begin. Okay, here we go. Get myself comfy first. All right. Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, and we send love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. Of course, what we would like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. From human to spirit. Well, really, it's the other way around. From spirit to human. Because again, as many of you have termed throughout your common quote, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. So therefore, a spiritual being going into the human body, understanding what it is to be human, and then returning back into the essence of that spiritual being once again. Now again, your planet has had one of the most intricate, unique experiments in all of the universe. There are very few planets that go to such an extreme as you have chosen to do, to allow yourselves to better who you are. And this is why so many souls come to Earth altogether, is you have souls from all over, from different dimensions, different densities, different universes, different realities, all because of the broadness of the contrast that is available here on this planet. And this is why it can always be such a challenge for so many of you to get along with each other, because you all come from different universes, you all come from different realities, you all come from different dimensional planes, and you all have certain levels of memories of how your existence has been within those particular planes of reality. And so therefore, when you come to Earth and you realize that this experiment is completely free form, it's a free-for-all. It truly is complete and total unconditional expression. But again, this state of unconditional expression is indeed patternized. There are methods in that sense, there are cycles in this way through the chaos. So even though you may meet other people on your planet who feel that they're going crazy in that way, that they can't stand the chaos, that they feel that they're going into extremes themselves, that they may be highly depressed, they may be highly anxious, they may be very angry, they may be very much in despair, this is all part of the plan. Everything that is unique also has an intricacy to it, which means that none of you really are out of balance. It's all the idea of the shifting, the pushing and the pull of the tide that represents your evolution as a species. Now again, humanity was designed to work together in deep levels of love. And that is how you originally started. You worked very, very strongly with nature. You worked alongside the animals. You connected with the earth. You were working alongside her. You were functioning as stewards in the most earlier times to your inception, where again you were almost primal yourself, animalistic yourself, but you also had the intelligence to construct. You had the intelligence to think. You had the intelligence to adapt. You had the intelligence to evolve. Now again, throughout the times and throughout the cycles that continue, you again forged empires. You created civilizations. You created cultures. You created great cities. You created great technologies. You again advanced yourselves agriculturally. You therefore went later and later on into that of industrial revolution, pre-industrial revolution, post-industrial revolution, etc. And here you are right now in your time of the modern digital age. As we have said before, that really when you're looking at your internet collective consciousness, this is the training wheels that represents the idea of you functioning together with a truly symbiotic natural consciousness. So your birthing of your internet in this age is the idea of getting yourself into a state of preparation so that you're learning how to connect together as a collective people. This is why your internet has been deemed as one of your most advanced and appropriate technologies, is because of how it connects all of you together. Certainly people can utilize that connectivity for positive and negative means, but nonetheless it's showing you about how you're all connected, and it therefore gives you a reference. And so when you look at the reference to what the internet collective consciousness is doing with you, you are now starting to build yourself, develop yourselves to understand that you're connecting to the true internet. And the true internet is what we refer to as the inner net. And the inner net is allowing you to connect with everyone through your thoughts, through your feelings, through your own passions, through your own desires, through your own ambitions, through your own compassion. This is the key in helping you to bridge the gap between the divide that represents human and spirit. Because so many humans upon this planet have turned directly to science and feeling that science is the answer to everything. Do not get us wrong, there is much convenience that does exist within science. There is much convenience, there is much compatibility, and of course there is much comfort in the idea of technology. But again, in order for man to create something relating to that of technology, they have it within their own mind maps. And so as they are exploring their own mind maps, their own mental grids, they discover these particular forms of technology as they work with the array of the environment around them, through different bands, through different frequencies, through different forms of dimensional understandings, etc. This is again why you have radio. This is again why you're able to invent technology through X-ray. This is why you're starting to tap into the quantum field. Again, you're looking into all the different bands. So again, it's really at the level right now where nothing is impossible for you anymore. In fact, much of your technology has the ability now to create that which was previously deemed as impossible. But this is only going to get more and more stronger. So, as you start to develop yourselves as a training wheels based internet collective consciousness, and you move more into the internet, into the natural collective consciousness, you will notice that the dependency upon technology will eventually become less and less. Your technology in that sense will actually become much more simple. The technology in that sense will actually be what is birthed from the earth. You will learn how to work together on quantum levels, which again is part of that nature. And so you will learn how to develop things holographically. You will learn how to create material, we would say, out of thin air. You will know how to develop spacecraft. You will know how to travel across the galaxy. And those that remain on the Earth would never create any particular form of obtrusive technology that would create any particular form of discord with the planet. It would always be something together in harmony. So many of you would actually go back to the Earth. You may start to work with Earth-based materials. Everything that complements the Earth, your technology would actually work together in harmonizing and working together with the Earth, which means that you would green deserts, you would bring vegetation back to drought, you would allow the pollutions within your atmosphere, within your water, within your air, all of that would be completely subsided. So the technology would work together mainly on an automated process, and therefore creating certain levels of artificial intelligence that would actually take care of sewage systems, that would take care of, again, what you would know as much of the dirty work that humans will not handle. That's, again, where you're going as the next step to your own technological process. But as we've stated, in the very deep future, as you term it, that you will start to work more so together in equilibrium with the Earth. You will discover that many of you will know how to develop yourselves to travel the galaxy without even having to hop on board a spacecraft. That you are actually able to activate your light body. You're actually able to construct both of the tetrahedra that forms that of the Merkaba vessel, and you're able to naturally travel not only through interstellar space, but through different dimensions as well too. So we're just giving you a bit of a glimpse, an idea about where your society is headed. Because when you start thinking in this way, it's bringing spirit and humanity together. You are working with the power within yourself, as we have talked about in a previous presentation relating to that of taking back power. And this is exactly what you're doing, is that if you want to truly advance past your beliefs, you want to give value, you want to give strength, you want to give power to who you wish to become. Just recently, there was a video on this channel to which the conduit has presented relating to that of the law of coherency. And this is indeed the true factor. This deals with magnetics. This deals with relationships. This deals with connections. So if you feel that you are truly in the alignment of wanting to go deeply within your spiritual self, it is all about being able to edit your life and edit these particular forms of validations that you have created in saying that I can never amount to anything because this is what's happened to me in the past. In fact, we would say the great majority of your planet, specifically within the Western world, has constantly lived in the past or constantly lived with a fear-based scenario of the future. They very rarely actually come into the present moment. So again, you're either living into a guilty past or you're completely anxious of a fearful future. When are you allowing yourself to have the opportunity to become presently empowered? And that's what's going to change everything. So we need to look firstly at your beliefs. You need to look very, very deeply and saying, am I doing exactly what I feel I can do? From what my own conscience is telling me, from what my own heart is telling me, from even what my mind is telling me. Can I do this? Well, no, I haven't because I feel guilty about this. I feel angry about that. I feel traumatized by this feeling of abandonment or abuse or rejection, and I can't get past that. And as long as you feel you can't get past that, then you're going to remain exactly where you are. You're going to remain in that bubble, or more so, appropriately, staying within a box, staying within a cube, and feeling that those walls are constricting you. Even though there may be some interesting times existing within that box, they are walls. And it's all about you being able to take down your walls and realize you are the catalyst to your own greatness. And so greatness itself comes from a person who has that state of honesty with who they are, and they are not volunteering to hold themselves back because of some type of obligation that they themselves have invented. As we've talked about before, you're utilizing the power of the infinite to create restriction within yourself. So if you feel that I can't do this work because I'm too slow, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm too ignorant to see this, etc., then you're taking all of the energies of the infinite and you're creating this finite cage. You're creating this cube. And that's what you're imprisoning yourself in as. The feeling that you are just a person inside a box who cannot think, who cannot feel that they are good enough, who are not worthy. And again, that's even not coming into the aspect of a human intelligence. It comes into the idea of a despairing intelligence. It comes to the idea where you're actually on a level that is subpar to human. When you're looking at a human, what does that mean? Well, Hu actually is translated as God, and man, of course, representing that of entity. A God entity. That's what you are. So, if you are basically in a state of despair, if you're constantly feeling that you cannot do absolutely anything, that your own heart is telling you you can do this, but you decide to basically cut everything out and saying, nope, I can't do this, this is not possible, it's not for me, I'm not smart enough, I'm not intelligent enough to do this, etc., then you're basically being subpar to that of human. Well, what is the subpar of human in that sense? Well, it's not even that of an animal, because an animal in that sense maintains an equilibrium with their own environment. It becomes the idea that you exist more so as a program, and that a program is really what a belief system is. A program is just the result of what you have assigned energetically to giving you the impression of what you feel you are. So you have basically come below human into a program consciousness. And the program consciousness is not willing to change themselves because they feel they have given up. They feel that everybody else is special and they're not. And that is where you are maintaining yourself inside a box because you feel you're nothing more than a program. And that's all it is. You've created everything from the infinite to manufacture this particular type of program. Well, Adronis, I just can't help it. Other people feel like they have all these other things to offer, and I don't have anything to offer. It's that you haven't even bothered to try to understand what you can offer because your focus has been put upon everybody else. And you haven't given yourself that permission to say, I am capable of doing this. I am capable of working together as a healer, as a teacher, as a musician, as a historian, as an inventor, whatever it may be. You have all of this beautiful earth to work with. You have all of these people together that can be your best companions or your greatest enemies, your greatest foes, simply because of how you see yourself. So you have to see exactly how you want to align yourself, and you need to look deep. As we've stated, there's no easy button to the aspect of enlightenment. It's the ability of how can I get to know myself? Can I make a little bit of time at least each day getting to know who I am and starting to step it up from there, moving into greater aspects of knowing of the self, moving into greater revolutions of understanding your capabilities. That's what's required here. So again, it's all about the idea of you willing to go within your inner net and start to explore who you are. I have this horrible childhood tragedy that took place at 6 years old, and here I am now, age 35, and I'm still looking into that. So you're still seeing yourself as a 6-year-old. You're not seeing yourself as a 35-year-old who has learned so much since that particular time. But again, all this is really just constitutes together with memory. You have created so much focus on that memory being a burden, but that's all you've decided to focus on because of its energetic, because of how powerful you've made it. Guess what? Nobody else made it that powerful. Wasn't your mom, wasn't your dad, wasn't your best friend, wasn't your old partner, wasn't your ex-boss. You made that memory that powerful. Well, how is this happening? Because of the choices you make. And this is something that we want to share that's very, very important from stepping to that next plateau to becoming a spiritual human. The choices that you make are paramount in reality. If you basically take choice so lightly and just allow the ego to make the choices for you, you will have to own up to those particular scenarios down the road. Because every choice that you make is your own benchmark of focus that you are applying. This is how important choice is. So when you're looking at the ability to choose and saying, well, I'm just going to go work at a fast food restaurant for minimum wage because that's all I feel I deserve. And I cannot stand the staff there, I cannot stand the boss there, I don't like the customers, but hey, this is all I feel I deserve. It brings in a little bit of money at least. And each day that you go there, you start to feel this great pressure, this great tension, and saying, I really can't stand this anymore. And now I'm just going to walk away from it. As you walk away, those old energies that made the choice are now following you. And now you're saying, oh, he walked away, oh, he quit, oh, he can't do this, he can't even simply work at a burger joint, and now he's running away from everything, etc., etc., etc. Why does that happen? Because you have given no energy to bring about a transformation to the previous choice you have made. You have put so much focus in your regret of feeling that you had to run away because you couldn't take it. You've created so much energy into the reactions of other people because you felt you have failed making this choice. And now you're just running endlessly and allowing this energy to follow you because you haven't transmuted it. If you do not transmute previous choices, they will follow you lifetime after lifetime, endlessly, until you transmute them. Choice is energy. This particular aspect of choice to where you make a decision is an array. It's a matrix. It's everything that you have made in that previous decision, and you're basically trying to run away from what you've created. It's like a child that's in a sandbox that decides to make a very, very scary monster. And that scary monster now comes to life because that child is putting so much energy into what they fear. So they'll run out of the sandbox, that monster will start coming to life and start chasing them. They'll start hiding behind some trees, they'll start hiding behind some bushes. The monster will find you. You cannot escape it until you come to terms with what you've created. You create everything by what? By choice. That's your creation. That's your perceptual creation of what you manifest. And because many of you in that sense have no idea how to transmute choice into something that you prefer, you continue to run with this barrage of energy that's continuously chasing you. Because you have created a level of disappointment. You have created some type of trauma within yourself that says that through choice, I made this really, really bad decision and I'm trying to run away from it. Again, you're looking at the child in the sandbox creating a monster example. That's what you've done. You've created a monster. And it's going to keep chasing you. And it's going to keep following you until you come to terms with it and saying, I'm not the victim anymore. I'm not going to play a victim consciousness. I'm not going to be the damsel or the man in distress because of this monster chasing me. I'm going to put the brakes on. I'm going to look back at this choice. I'm going to look at it in its face. And I'm actually thanking it for what it's doing. It's showing me everything that I know I am not. And now that I understand that, I put my focus by turning my head, making another decision, by being the opposite of everything that that monster represents. I'm now going to start valuing myself, honoring myself. I'm going to become this particular role. I'm going to become this particular type of person because this is what actually makes me feel good. This is what makes me feel wonderful. And now you change. And now that monster gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until, poof, it vanishes. Because all the energy it took to create that monster was now recycling itself into the new choice that you've made. And that new choice that you've made has now been a complement to who you are. So do you see this? This is the mechanic of choice. Is that it's energy? Is that it's creation? When you make a choice, do not make it lightly. Because if you create something of a choice that you know you do not prefer, you're manifesting that into being. What does it take to make a choice a choice? Focus, decision, and application. So through your focus, decision, and application, you have created a matrix. You've created an array of energies. And you've brewed this into your life, which means timelines collide. They shift together, and your entire reality bubble creates and manifests itself appropriately to the choices that you've made. And so when you're able to look at those old choices, back in the day, as it were, and you know that they have been haunting you, that your father said this to you and you reacted in this way. Your mother said this to you and you reacted to this way. This job did this to you and you reacted in this way. It's all because of the choices, not only in this lifetime, but in others as well too, that all collide together. Because here's the thing. When you make all of these, shall we say, misaligned choices, and the time comes for you to leave this body, very little of those particular choices become corrected when you're out of body. You need to go back and you need to inherit those particular experiences again because that's where they were manufactured. It's not about saying, oh, when I leave this lifetime, when I leave this body, I'll just go back into source consciousness and I'll correct everything there. No, you can't. There's only very little things that you can do when you're back into the aspect of source consciousness because that's not the platform to where all of this took together, this brought together. You need to go back and correct these choices again because Earth was the platform to where those choices were made. So you can do a little bit of tidying up behind the scenes in that way when you return back to source. but a very small amount. This is again why your guides will point to you and saying, nope, Jim, Jill, you need to go back to that planet again. You need to go back there because that's the platform where all of that was created. And if you want to expand yourself, if you want to accelerate, you need to go back there and you need to correct it. Because that's where it happened. That's the platform that holds the energy. And so therefore you decide to go back and you correct that. And this is revealed through what is commonly referred to as a life review. And so you're looking at your life review, you're looking at the important highlights, you're looking into how all of your actions affect everybody else that comes back to you. And you just make that decision and saying, all right, I'll go back. I'll return to Earth. I will clean up this platform. And that's what happens. So as a newborn baby, as soon as you're out of your mother's womb, it all begins. The cycles continue. The energies gravitate together within you again. And as you grow up, as you start to age into a toddler, into a child, into an adolescent, into a teenager, into an adult, into a senior, etc., all of this starts from the get-go as soon as you exit the womb. As soon as that happens, the energies continue where you left off. This is why people are wondering, well, why do children have such difficult times with these parents in that sense? Because they're picking up where they left off. The universe is not giving you favoritism. It's not going to say, oh, well, just because you're a little kid, we're not going to put all these energies into you. Of course we are, because we're not in charge of those energies. We're only sending you energy, and you're the one that's taking this energy and putting it into practice. This is where, especially in adulthood right now, you need to take responsibility for your choices. Because if you don't, you come back again, and as a child, you face the brunt of those choices again. As an infant, as a toddler, as a child, as a teenager, etc. It's very, very important that you're cleaning up your own life for your own sake, that when you decide to come back again, those aren't looming. It's not energies that are continuing to press themselves upon you and saying, nope, this is what you deserve, this is what you're going to get, and it's going to be horrendous because of previous choices that have not been transmuted. Well, Adronis, how do we transmute those choices? It's very, very simple. As we've stated, the monster that you look at face to face is telling you everything that you're not. So, look into the opposite of the spectrum. What's the opposite of a demon in that sense? An angel. Well, if I'm looking at my demon-like shadow here, it's showing me that in the opposite energy of me becoming angelic, I can now start to bring balance to that old choice. So it's telling you the opposite spectrum here. So rather than running from this gigantic shadow monster, you come face to face, you acknowledge its existence, you accept it. And again, this is what we hear from many of you when we're talking to you one-to-one. Adronis, I can't face this. It's too horrifying. I can't do this. It's too terrible. We understand it may be horrifying. It may be terrible, but it's your own creation. It's what you've manifested. And so you need to work together in building up your love levels to the degree where you have absolutely no fear in looking at this great monster that you've created. Because when you're truly in love and acceptance, nothing scares you. The aspect of the fear comes from the drama of what you have manufactured out of that particular scenario. But again, many of you feel that this is coming out of the actions of somebody else, that somebody else is giving you this. No, you've given permission for that person to give this back to you. That's how it works. Everything starts with you, as we've stated. You're the only whole being here. There is no other whole being that you have ever met. Everybody else is a slice of that catalyst-based reflection that you are telling yourself that you are. So if you may meet a person who you feel is a jerk, you've given them permission for them to be a jerk to tell this back to you. Because in that sense, what it's telling you is that you have not been discerning with your own actions. And therefore you bring about these quote-unquote toxic people into your life because you've done no particular form of inner work of transmutation so that those people do not have to be in your life. And that's why they're here. So Adronis, what are you saying? That you can actually live this life without one toxic person in your life altogether. That is exactly what we're saying. We're not telling you this as some type of deep metaphysical philosophy that's unachievable. We're telling you that when you are truly giving yourself the greatest form of attention and dedication to you, everybody that comes together within your life will represent the reflection of how well you are prospering through yourself, through the choices that you have now made through the heart, through the choices that you have now made that are now bringing you upon an aligned path. Because the true path doesn't involve really any thought. It doesn't really involve choice either. It just involves the aspect of natural instinct through flow. You therefore become an instinctual being. And your instincts tell you, I'm going this way. There doesn't even have to be an A or a B choice here. I'm just going this way because this is how I feel about myself. I instantaneously make a decision. I follow my instincts. I walk that path. And that is walking the path of human spirit. Because again, there's no second guessing. There's no procrastination. There's no second thoughts. There's no feeling that you're sabotaging yourself when you start walking that particular path. It is the true liberation of how a human being can become that God within. When you access the God within and you start listening to that God within yourself, you therefore follow an instinct. You're no longer a free will being. You're now a natural will being, which means instinct leads you. The instinct to follow the flow to where it is pointing you. You become a compass rather than the idea of looking at all these different roads and basically trying to turn on your turn signal to decide which path you want to take. It's no longer the aspect about being faced with a very strong choice. Because again, as we've stated, choice is the result of being within a realm of confusion. This is again what the law of confusion represents, is that it is actually free will. And free will is created by you feeling you have to make a choice. So, when you therefore make a decision based upon that choice, you need it to stop because you are attempting to relieve the state of confusion. Therefore, you say, okay, I'm going to go with the B path. I walk down the B path, and that is me making the choice as a free will human being. Correct. That's the idea. Because as we stated as well, there's predetermined free will. So, predeterminism in that sense, or as we would just basically call it, determinism, is the aspect to where spirit resides. Spirit knows everything about what you're going to do with your life. Even when you have your revolutionary moments, your empowered moments, your aha moments, when there's shifts taking place within your reality, Spirit already knew you were going to do that. It knows everything. From the moment that you're born to the moment that you leave this body and return back to source consciousness. You can't fool it. So therefore, everything that's written out here in that sense is what you are actually enacting down here. And because you're being kept in the dark through that state of confusion, this is what's giving that illusion of free will. So free will, yes, is an illusion. And so you have the ability to surpass that when you meld and bond together with the lower self and the higher self becoming one. Therefore, you no longer have to make choice. You already know your plan for this life. You've already seen all other lifetimes that you have lived. And there is such a great clarity to yourself that you no longer feel this state of pressure, this state of tension, nor this state of toxicity within yourself because you've liberated yourself. And everything is truly blissful because now you're choosing the highest paths that flow is taking you to because of your state of liberation in following instinct, because of your devotion and dedication to yourself. Now, when we say devotion and dedication to yourself, we're not saying this in a level of arrogance. in saying that it's all about me and to heck with anybody else. No, that's not what we're saying. Is that when you give yourself time to focus within yourself and you start to work together with your own patterns, you become familiar with them. You become familiar about your behavior. You become familiar about your personality. You become familiar about your choices. And so now this becomes natural to you, and you're no longer having to concern yourself about behavior or personality or choices, because you have now made them a clean slate. And now you're choosing the highest path for the best of all that represents yourself, and you're walking that path instinctually. These are what your ancient masters have been able to do. By again going into a state of seclusion and being able to bring about this higher instinct, this natural will, where every particular timeline you choose serves the greatest quality of your vibration in that moment, because you respect, honor, love, and appreciate yourself. And therefore, you're bringing that out to everybody. Everybody you see as yourself. This is the great understanding. It's not about service to yourself or service to others. That's a dualism. It is about the idea that as you work with the greatest service to yourself, you therefore radiate that to the greatest service to all. So, working together and harmonizing yourself and dedicating yourself to your own personal practices, understandings, working with belief systems, harmonizing traumas, all of that works together by you understanding your life pattern. And now as you feel this great bliss, this great wonder, because now you feel everything. You feel the earth rotating. You feel the gravitational effect weighing you down. You feel the thoughts and the feelings of others around you, and you're able to integrate it. And now you're able to offer the greatest love to everybody by just being in their presence. You don't even have to start a conversation. You're just there, and people feel the radiance of your love coming off. And you're just looking at them and smiling, and they feel that love. And you have done so much just by being in their presence. And that's service. You have become the prime example of love here. We're telling you this because this is how we exist. We exist exactly as what we have just described, in the ability that our presence is like a radiating sun, and we continue to send that love out throughout the cosmos. Some people may be able to accept it, some may not, but that's okay. We're not here to say, oh, you have to follow my energy. You have to follow all the love that I'm radiating with. No, because that creates an arrogance. So we're telling you all of this because this is what we have been through as well. Not to the extremes of your planet, but certainly through the idea of challenges, certainly through the idea of decisions that we have had to make. Because again, we have witnessed galaxies at war. Not just in this galaxy, but many others. And it all correlates together to what we have also been through as well, throughout our ancient history. And we're telling you all of this because we're letting you know you have the capability of doing this. If we did not think that you had the capability to completely transform and transmute your life, we wouldn't be talking to you right now. You have to understand that the way that your modern civilization is engineered is that it is always about devoting yourself to the external. You have to work, you have to get a job, you have to make a paycheck, you have to pay rent, you have to buy food, you have to do this, etc., 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 etc. And that is why there's so much happening in your external world for you to focus on. And feeling that, Adronis, I just don't have time to work with myself because of such a demanding external reality. I have children, I have rent to pay, I have to go to work, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do the other thing. We understand that many of you have busy lives. But again, that is part of the choice that you have made, to make the choice to become part of such a mainframe that represents your modern society. And as we've stated, do many of you like that particular aspect of society? No, I really don't like it at all. yet you are a slave to it based on a choice. What have we said that choice is, right? So you need to look at this and saying, what can I do in a state of transition to giving myself more time to commune with my spirit, to commune with the emptiness, to commune with truth? And that is the answer you must provide. We're not here to edit your lives for you. We're not here to tell you exactly what you should be doing on a daily basis. Certainly you can meditate. Certainly you can reflect upon yourself, but you're doing it in your own unique way. This is the whole idea, is that not just with us, but with so many other beings that are working together with your society. Many of you are under the impression that in some particular way, we're going to come down and we're going to save you. We can't save you. Nobody can save you. It's not possible. You're the only one here. So when you are looking into all these impressions of great inspirations that's coming together in your life through people, be it through channels, be it through psychics, be it through best friends, family, etc., it's all telling you that this is what you're capable of. Nobody is going to carry you across the threshold and say, oh, here's fourth density. I did it for you. Here, tip me. No, it's not going to happen that way. You cross the threshold to the next density. You cross the threshold back into the essence of spirit. You do it. That's how it works. That's how it will always work. It's not about looking outside of yourself for answers. Even when you're hearing us right now, we are simply sharing this information. And this information will remain as information until you decide that that information is quite valuable and now you're giving it to yourself. So all we are doing here is a transmission that we do out of the love of ourselves because we see you as us. You are indeed family to us, and we are doing this out of love, not because there's some sort of hidden agenda. Is Adronis trying to take us over if he's giving us all this information? Are we trying to make ourselves into his slaves? No. Because again, we tell you straight out, you can accept or you can reject this information. You can turn this transmission off right now, and it wouldn't make a difference to us whatsoever. Because we're doing this out of the state of love for all of you. And so, again, even with this conduit, even with Brad himself, he is still learning to work together internally with himself, to spend more time within and less time without. And of course, it's his decision to make all of those particular choices that best suit his energy. And again, we would say that to all of you. You need to make time with working with yourself, devoting yourself to who you are. You're putting yourself first. And that is the most important thing to do ever. Which means you're not putting your parents first. You're not putting your children first. You're not putting your friends first. You're not putting your family first. You're not putting your boss first. You're not putting your coworkers first. You're not putting some other extraterrestrial being first. You're first. Because if you do not put yourself first and decide that you put somebody else ahead of you, you will never be able to develop a straight aspect of fulfillment by doing such a thing. It will lead to disappointment. Because if something goes wrong, they can blame you. They feel that now you're taking care of everything. They form a dependency upon you, and now they can use you. They can now blame everything upon you. And again, this is what creates greater disconnect, because you have prevented them from thinking for themselves. And that's the greatest form of misalignment you can offer somebody, is when you say, no, don't worry, I'll take care of all this for you. You don't worry about it. You have robbed them of an experience that they are not able to perform, that they may have had an interest with. We're not saying in the idea not to take care of somebody who may be injured, or again, taking care of your young ones as they grow. But it's the idea that you're still bringing a great devotion to yourself. Because here's the great distortion as it relates to much in regards to parents, is they feel again that their children become their whole world. But we would actually say no. The children's world is associated and bonding together with your own. If you're making your own life in your child's world, even then when you're taking care of them, what will it lead to? It will lead to greater states of dependency. And again, as they get older, they'll get angry at you because there is restriction preventing them from having these experiences that they felt were important to them that they now reflect on. You are not a part of anybody's world. You're not making them your world. Their world is coming together with yours, and you're creating a symbiosis. You're creating a partnership. That's the same with your children. You're creating a partnership with them. You're not making them your entire world. That's not possible. You're working together with two worlds coming together, holding hands, and saying, let's do this together. I'm going to show you what it's like to be a little kid. Oh, great, sweetie. Well, I'm going to show you exactly what it is to be a parent. Let's learn from each other. Let's help each other. Let's work together with each other. But I'm not going to do all of this for you to feel that you have absolutely no form of ability to make a choice. And that becomes, again, a type of slavery. Again, it's about getting out of this mainframe mentality to feeling that your children belong to you. They don't. You are a carrier for them. You're bringing them into the world. And you're helping them grow up because, yes, when they're little, they're not able to communicate vocally, as you know. But you're helping them, you're nurturing them, you're being stewards for them so that they can grow. And as they get older, you're allowing them the opportunity of choice so that they are able to make these decisions and feel it for themselves. Of course, you can always give guidance. Of course, you can always share in the ideas of what to do and what not to do from your own experience, but allow them to make these choices for themselves. If you're basically going to cover them together with all these hockey pads and strap duct tape around them because you're so afraid that they're going to fall, then again, at that time where they don't have that padding and they fall, that is going to traumatize them. So this is where it's very, very important that you are functioning as a steward, that you are functioning as a helper, that you're functioning as a guide for your children, not to see that they are property, not to feel that in that sense you have to make every single decision for them, because it's no more different than you going back into their situation when you were little and feeling that there were so many wonderful things, just exciting, fun things to explore, and your parents said no, because I'm making this decision for you. Well, how did that make you feel? Put yourself in that place. This is, again, as we stated, the child is letting you know, I'm going to show you what it's like to be a child here. All right, I'm going to show you what it's like to be a parent. And you're holding hands. It's an agreement, a carrier agreement, a steward agreement. That's what makes the most wonderful parenting experience possible, is the ability to allow your children to choose. Once they're able to reach that state of a higher maturity, which again is just speaking, being able to walk, being able to do these simple little things. They want to help you out in the kitchen, and you think that it's going to be too dangerous, you've robbed them of an experience. They want to go into your bedroom, they want to help you make the bed, maybe they'll think they'll just tumble over the bed, and maybe they'll peel over the bed or something of that nature. You rob them of that experience. So, this is where you're being a steward for them. Sure, come and help mommy or daddy with the bed. And now you show them how they make the bed, now you're letting them do it themselves. Sure, come and help mom and daddy with the dishes. And now you have created an environment that you know is safe for them to work with the dishes. You're not handing them blades, of course, or anything of that nature, but you're making an environment so that their curiosity can be answered. That's the idea of, again, of steward-based parenting. That is something that we want to remind many of the parents that are listening to this transmission now. In conclusion, we are letting you know that through everything that we have shared, the most important thing for all of you to work with is your ability to make choices that serve you, that serve your heart, that serve your soul, that serve your spirit. So that again, you are working with yourself, you are connecting to yourself, you are devoting to yourself, to making your life absolutely wonderful. Because as you do, everybody else who associates with you gets that wonderful life as well too. Because you see them as high as you see yourself. And that is the great transformation that takes place. This is why it's so important to do the inner work. But you must do it in your own way. There's no easy button here. There's no red button that says, evolve me, and click. It's the idea that you're working with yourself, you're looking into your feelings, you're looking into your personality, you're looking into your behavior, and you're now starting to understand, what can I do to edit this? Because this is not who I am, this is not who I am, this is not who I am. So I transmute, I transmute, I transmute. I bring love to lack. And that's what transforms everything. That's what brings my connection to spirit so much closer to me. Because now I'm embodied, I'm incarnated as a human being, but my spirit is bright and beautiful and shining. And through human and through spirit as one, I will climb to the top and I will manifest the greatest timelines, greatest transformations, and greatest realizations that will show that everything that is a part of my reality will be blessed, will be cherished, and will be completely loved in the deepest ways possible. We thank you once again for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now take a moment to return back into the conduit as we will now begin your question and answer period. One moment, please, as we return. Thank you. Okay. Great, wonderful transmission there from Adronis. Again, thank you everybody for joining me today. We are going to be getting into the questions here in just a moment. But of course, before we do that, I'm just going to go back into the offer that I talked about in the beginning of the presentation, which again is the 20% off any session on New Earth Teachings. Again, just type in Adronis20, all in capital letters, into the enter a promo code box there when you go into your shopping cart page. And again, it's for all sessions, private one-to-one sessions, email questions, the EQ method, Akashic Records, Spiral Akashic Viewing, Asui Reiki. Everything is available there in this discount. And again, it's good to Monday, August 6th. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and get into Q&A. It's good that you guys can still kind of see me a bit. The sun is definitely moving across the window here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a look into the chat and just kind of scroll down and see what kind of questions we have. So if you guys do have a question, feel free to put it into the chat box here. Okay, just scrolling up here. You gotta scroll right up to the top here. Man, it's a big chat here. Okay. This is just an interesting one from Brad Pittman. It says, at first I was scared in my dreams, but I feel like I have gotten over a lot of my fear because of them, and now I am trying to discern because I'm not familiar with a lot of what happens in them. And that's okay. You don't have to be so familiar with what happens in them. And again, Adronis has always stated that the most important thing you do, whether you're going through a dream or whether you're going through an awoken experience, is listen to what your feelings are telling you, right? We're not all expert dream interpreters, right? We may write down our dreams and we're looking into certain symbolisms and it's giving us certain impressions here and there, but it's all about how you're tapping into your feelings, right? So if you have some type of cognizant memory of those dreams, you're looking into the idea about what feeling is coming up in that way, right? It's kind of like looking at the tarot deck, right? When you're putting out the cards, certainly there's archetypal meanings as it relates to the cards themselves, but the most important part is to seeing how they all relate to each other, right? So if you're feeling that there was a scary dream, because even myself in the past couple of nights I've had some pretty intense dreams as well too. And what I got out of that is that there's old impressions of myself that are now leaving themselves behind, right? It's again like we're kind of doing this editing within our dream states, and we're leaving all of these old paradigms behind, right? We're leaving these old fears behind because we notice that when we wake up, even though we had those scary dreams, the day is actually going pretty good. You're actually feeling a little bit lighter, right? All of these things are like just falling right off you. Right? So it's just important to look into the feelings of what you're able to remember within the dreams that will give you the impression about how you're changing, how you're evolving, right? And if it is something that indeed scared you, it's exactly what Adronis said here, right? Look into that scary monster and raise your love levels so that you're able to look at that monster with love no longer with fear, and now you're focusing on what you prefer, right? Very good. Thank you for your sharing there. Okay, just going down the list here. Okay. Let me see. Just going down here a little bit more. Got a lot of good sharing on the chat here. We just have a lot of comments. That's good. I think I saw one down here that was for Adronis. Let me see. Okay, here's just a good comment from Omar. It's like doing the shaman's death every day until you stop doing what you know you shouldn't. Within it creates pressure and tension. Exactly right. You got it, right? Adronis has talked about many times that each day you live to die, right? And then as you die enough, you're now able to live. Now, even Jesus referred to the idea of being born a second time. First time was through the water or the birth canal. The second time was actually being born as a spiritual being, right? And the whole idea, in order for us to be born of a second time, is when we are able to completely die and let all of these old woes come together in a state of harmony, right? So again, the medicine men can refer to that as what do you call it? Soul collection or soul retrieval. That's the word. Soul retrieval, and are able to bring back all of these old shards that were contaminated with belief, contaminated with heavy emotions, contaminated with traumas, right? And they die each day because they're letting all of these old things that have been traumatized, that have been tainted, to become recollected back into light, recollected back into purity. And then you're born a second time, because now you're living the life as a spirit rather than the idea of a human, right? So this is the idea where spirit-human connects. Yes, you're still in a body, but you're functioning much more on the level as a spiritual being rather than the idea of just being a human being, right? So human being, yes, God, man, is what it represents. But when you're actually bringing the aspect of the God truly into fruition with yourself, this is where human truly comes into light, right? So human could also be referred to as spirit man as well too, right? So rather than living as a program, as what Adronis stated, is that you're no longer living as that programmed human. You're now living as a spiritual human, right? That's the great transformation that will come. Okay. Glad we got a really good community here, guys. We're just seeing some really good comments and people sharing with each other. It's excellent. Okay, I'm just scrolling down this really long chat list here. Okay, here's a question here from Alodium. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Dear Brad and Adronis, I saw myself as a pharaoh in the mirror a time ago. What does this mean? Am I contacted with it? Is it a soul connection or something else? Well, you have to understand that pharaohs do not, when you see a pharaoh in the mirror, right, it's not saying that you're the exact past life of this pharaoh, right? It's letting you know of a particular mentality, of a certain form of emotion that you're going through that correlates together perhaps with a famous pharaoh that you may be familiar with, right? So it may represent the idea of rulership, right? It may represent the idea of sanctum. It may represent the idea of being an authority, right? It may also represent old concepts of those times coming back together within you. So it doesn't always relate to say that you're instantly that past life of that pharaoh, right? There are times when we have dreams and all of a sudden we see a lion directly in front of us, right? And that lion is not hostile in any way. He just approaches you and he puts his paw upon your hands, right? Doesn't mean to say that we're that lion in that past life. That lion is coming together as a dream symbolism, is knowing now it's time to bring in your courage. Now it's time to bring in your strength, right? So again, like I said, the important thing is that you're looking into the feeling in that moment when you saw that pharaoh in the mirror, right? Now, again, that is representing that archetype. So if you feel that there was a great wisdom that came together, right? It may also represent the idea of the bonding between another energy of emotion and yourself, another memory coming together in yourself, right? it's not to dismiss the idea that this could be another version of yourself in another reality, but it's also letting you know about an archetype, right? It's letting you know about, again, authority. It can represent the idea of sexual knowledge, right? Egypt was really great in being able to understand the idea of the gateway between the love between the man and the woman that brings transcendence, right? So there's many different scenarios that this comes together, and you edit it together by remembering the feeling that that brought you. Was it something familiar? Was it something that brought power? Was it something that brought authority? Was it something that brought about, sexual accomplishment, whatever it may be? Your feeling dictates your answer to what you're receiving through that archetype. Okay, so look at it in that particular way. Okay, let me just go. I lost my spot here. I need to do something besides giving these chats. I think I gotta do like Zoom webinars from now on, guys. That way it's just so easier to look at the questions as they come through. So maybe that's something for next month. Okay. So Mythics here says, if one does not look for oneself, they cannot help or provide for two, three, or four, etc. One cannot be there for anyone if they are stuck at zero, being very difficult to ascend from. Well, again, it's like Adronis has stated, is that you put yourself first, right? And you're not dismissing any other person out of reality, but you're basically making sure that you are the paramount here. You're at the apex of the mountain, and that you're looking around your space and you're putting as much love into your entire environment, which includes people, as much as you see yourself in that way. Because for a lot of people that say, I just want to go out and I just want to help people, I don't really think of myself too much. You can only do so much for as much as you think you see of yourself, right? So if you see yourself kind of low to the ground, but you want to help other people, you will only be limited to that impression that you create. Because if you think very, very little of yourself, you're only going to have so much to play with as you try to assist others, right? So you may want to hand out donations. You may want to go work in a soup kitchen and helping out in that particular way, and that's great. But now you have an ability to work even further, right? When you really value yourself and love yourself, you're present, and now you're synchronistically showing up to these events where you're transforming people's lives because of the presence of you functioning as that catalyst. So when you're very much high up in the mountain here, and you're working with yourself, you're dedicating yourself to your life, you're harmonizing yourself in that way, and you interact with other people. By you being present, you actually offer greater service to those people than a person who thinks very little of themselves, who's trying to work together and help others, right? That's the catch-22 here. The more love that you bring into yourself, the greater that love will express itself through everybody else, that you'll be able to offer a greater hand helping together with them, right? That's kind of the transformation of the catch-22 here. Again, thank you for your question, or comment, I would say. Okay, there is a person here asking about QAnon. I've already done a video on that. I just go to the top 5 questions in July. Adronis has actually talked about QAnon there. In a summary, it's a group consciousness, an informant, bringing about this information to, again, bring a lot of this public knowledge to realization, so that there can be an eliciting of a great transformation happening within the collective consciousness, to where he's representing this, he's speaking some information, or I would say the group is speaking information that people are starting to resonate with, feel very strongly with, and so it's a support factor, you could say, right? Helping out with public information being exposed. Okay, here's one here from Eleazar. Brad, someone who's experienced higher consciousness beyond their body, have they reached total enlightenment? Well, to basically look into enlightenment is actually looking into enlightenment, right? Now, granted, there are people here that look at me and say, oh, Brad's very, very enlightened, right? I can't answer that, right? I'm just a scribe, right? I come in and I share this information. Even when I'm talking to you guys right now, it's all information coming together through source, right? It's the idea that really one who is enlightened, I would say, really has no particular tie-in with the modern world, right? They, again, completely devote themselves to their connection to spirit, to their aspect of their soul. And you could say that, yes, when they start living together as a spiritual being, that certainly is an enlightenment, because now you're working with your light. Now you're working together with your pure being. Now you've become a Christed being, you could say as well too. One who is not disturbed by the actions of the world, by the dramas of the world, right? Someone who has become imperturbable. Someone who has become in a state of equanimity, right? This is why, again, they called Buddha the enlightened one as well too, right? The enlightened Buddha was because he was showing equanimity with everything. He did not involve himself in internal matters, and he looked at everybody with a blessing, accepting everybody around him, right? I still have a ways to go before I'm on that level as well too. So I could say that I'm certainly bringing in enlightening information. But for me, being an enlightened being, no, I'm certainly not there yet, right? But it's really a person who is just living as spirit, right? Equanimity, imperturbability, not disturbed by the affairs of the world, simply being here to share their love in the grandest ways that they can, so that they are now one with the entire universe, one with all dimensions, one with God, right? The Father and the Son now becoming one. That would be my perspective on it. Okay. Scott Laval says, "Hey Brad, thanks for the message. What is the origination, and how does one get rid of viruses?" Well, that's a that's a complicated topic, because there are so many different viruses in that way. Again, I would suggest many people look into what's known as the medical medium, Anthony William, who has really created some really great books channeled through spirit, and he has shared some really great information on just simple procedures, you know, eating fruits, eating vegetables, and even mentalities as well too, that really help to alleviate a lot of different forms of viruses, right? There's something I also use as well too a lot called structured silver, or it's called thank you silver as well too. It's actually helped me a lot with a lot of past viruses I've had also, but I am still working with a few other things as well right now as well, and I'm working a lot with the medical medium as well too, as with what Adronis has been sharing also. Because a lot of the stuff that Anthony William has been sharing with you know, some of these particular forms of procedures, Adronis has hinted at as well too. So it's definitely a great complement. But viruses, in that sense, again, part of a natural life upon this planet. But again, what happens is that they become amplified, right? They go into labs and they start, you know, steroiding them up, right, big time. And then you get all these different forms of strains. But you actually have the ability within yourself to work with your body and actually start to empower your body so that the energy within yourself completely advances and boosts up the immune system so that you never get sick. So what, again, this all comes down to the point of communing together with your body, of forming a relationship with your body. Just being able to talk on a daily basis, or if you need to, on a weekly basis, right? Talk to your liver, talk to your kidneys, talk to your stomach, talk to your heart, talk to your bladder, talk to your gallbladder, right? Talk to your lungs, talk to every part of your body and checking in with it. And as it starts to work together with you, it'll communicate, right? I've actually just had my liver talk to me just a couple days ago about using olive oil, right, to do a great cleanse within the liver. And so that's something I'm preparing for right now. You know, I've heard again from my kidneys working with certain things, just more lemon, right? When you start getting into that point where you're connecting to your body in such a very, very beautiful relationship, you are immune to everything, right? You have the ability to completely heal everything within the body that relates to viruses, pathogens, even heavy metals as well too. You can program your cells. So again, there's a video that's on my channel. If you guys have not seen my channel yet, please go check it out. There's a lot of different videos that are on there that work together with programming a cell, right? And being able to work with the cell, multiplying it millions or even billions of times, and having that actually flourish within your body through your organs and cleaning everything out. They become absorber cells, right? So this is the power of your body, is that your body is programmable, right? And so when you start to work together on a cellular level with your body, you start to program cells, you start to turn them into absorbers, you give them commands about what they're going to absorb, and you're seeing that through inner vision about what they're doing to your body. Your physical body will respond in kind to that effect, okay? So please look at the videos on my channel. I do have that video as well too. It's referred to as the core technique, okay? So you can look into that as well. Okay. So just going to check out any other questions here. Okay, well, this is kind of an interesting one. It's kind of it is off topic in that sense. This is from iMark1. A question, a bit off topic, but I am concerned about a neophyte channeler. And for those who are not too sure what neophyte means, a new channeler in that way on YouTube. She believes that she can communicate with inanimate objects like an elevator with a name. What to do? Nothing. Let them explore that, right? I have actually done that myself, right? I've communicated with crystals. Everything has consciousness, right? And again, I can't say if this person is genuinely doing it or not, but everything has consciousness, right? You can talk to your glass that's holding water right now, and you can look deep into its akasha and sharing that and have that information sharing with you, right? You may look into exactly how it became manufactured. It may actually talk to you and saying, "Use me. I want to have a drink of water," right? Everything again has a touch of consciousness together with it because it's all created from us. What happens is that you're creating another person to create that for you to use, right? So everything that is material is all extensions from the emptiness, right? Truth is empty, changeless, void. And it is through truth that everything is created. The emptiness is what has created everything into wholeness, into material, right? So everything stems together from the one. So it may be weird, to look at a person talking to a chair, or a person naming an elevator, or a person, talking to their own computer screen in that way because they feel that consciousness. Certainly it looks strange, it looks weird, but that can actually happen, right? Everything has consciousness. Everything has the ability to communicate with you because you have formed a relationship together with matter, right? There's atoms inside that matter, and atoms themselves are intelligent, right? They're all part of patternizing everything together in that way. And in the times ahead, we'll learn how to actually generate matter synthesis out of thin air. That time is coming. So again, for those who are quite adept, they are able to look into these objects and actually start communicating with them. And they can actually sometimes get impressions that this object here wants to be used, right? Put more water in me, right? And they just feel that. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Whether a person believes it or not doesn't matter. Who cares, right? If this is something that's serving them and it's something that works for them, they're doing no harm, let them do it. Let them explore this and let it see exactly how it benefits and works together with their life. If it's helping them, let it be, right? Rather than, again, trying to be some type of critic and say, oh, come on, you can't do that. That's not possible. How do you know? Have you done it, right? If this person feels that they can do it, let them do it. If it's causing no harm, let them do it. Let them explore that facet of themselves. This is all part of looking into you evolving yourself, transforming yourself, right? Moving into a commitment to the self. Let people be other people. If they're doing no harm, they're helping themselves, they're working in this way, and they're happy to share this, let it be. Let them do it, right? And see exactly how it evolves them and transforms them. For that's what their experience is right now, to look into that effect, okay? Yeah, just scrolling down the list here a bit more. Scrolling down the list. Okay. Yeah, someone says I've communicated with my cat. Absolutely, right? Right. I've certainly had feeling energies with animals. I don't have like direct voice communication with them, but there's times where I can go up to an animal. I can just kind of sit down. Like if there's a little squirrel. I have like bunnies here as well too, where I exist. Where I exist. Sorry guys, I'm still in trance a bit. I'm looking at bunny rabbits where I am here, existing in this moment, right where I am. And I just kind of get a feeling with them. And I know that's when they want to run to the grass, they want to munch down on grass. There's also just that there's love that's emanating from them, and it's just going throughout the entire environment that I am. I have a big backyard out here. A cat comes here and just lays down, and I can feel that connection with the cat, just relaxing. It just loves this spot, right? That too is possible, right? It's not just the idea with inanimate objects. Everything has consciousness, right? Especially animals. Animals themselves can tell you a lot about how to form an equilibrium with nature, even by just looking at their body language, even just looking to see about their behavior. They can tell you about good spots where you can actually sit down, do a meditation, and actually feel very, very well charged, right? It's a beautiful thing to see. Okay, so we're going to probably take about 1 or 2 more questions, guys, if there are any more questions here. I think I've gone almost down to the bottom of the list here. Okay, here's one for Q&A, please, from Walk Away Fast. Are we now in a place where our bodies will be completely healed inside and out, or are we still reliant upon medical methods, for example, back, neck, etc.? Thank you. The answer, walk away fast, is both, right? We are now in a place where we can actually work together with our bodies fully and heal any particular form of illness in our body altogether through that state of mindfulness. Not only are we there now, but we've actually been there for thousands and thousands of years. We're also at a point as well, too, where we rely upon medical methods, right? The back, the neck, again, working with diabetes, working with cancer, working with all these things into medical science. And many people prefer medical science, mainly in the West, because of the tangibility it offers, of the practicality it offers. And we've been indoctrinated to follow together with a practicality program. But again, for one who is able to work very, very deeply within themselves, again, they're talking to their organs, they're talking to their body, they're talking to every part of themselves. And now they're actually able to negotiate a higher state of immunity with themselves, right? So this is, again, what I'm talking about is that you actually have the ability to reprogram your body. You can go inside and you can create these absorber cells. And again, you're just seeing them sweep through the body, and it's flushing out all toxins, all viruses, all pathogens, all metals, everything, right? Everything's being flushed right out of the body. You're programming your body to do that. How do you do that? Theta state, right? I've talked about that as well too. Go into theta state, start bringing all of this energy together. And if you guys don't know how to go into theta state, there's videos on my channel that teach you how to do this, right? Make your vision that you conjure, allow for the body to react to it, right? So when you're feeling, again, sexual arousal, your body reacts to that, right? When you're feeling a great hunger, right, to eat a favorite food item, your body's reacting to that, right? Your saliva is starting to pick up, right? If you're feeling really, really cold, right, you're feeling goosebumps on your arm, your body's reacting to that. All theta states, right? So you're working together with that, you're going to theta, you're going into a nice relaxed state of being, and you're programming just one cell, right? And it becomes your absorber cell. And you're saying, okay, absorb pathogens, absorb viruses, absorb bacteria, absorb metals, right? And you're focusing on that energy. And now the God mind is working together with you in theta, and you're feeling that energy of that one cell. And now you replicate it billions of times. And now you're taking those cells and you're imagining it's just sweeping throughout your entire body, sweeping through your circulatory system, your nervous system, your glandular system, your organs, your skeletal system, everything, right? It's just sweeping it all clean. And you're doing this on a daily basis. And as you do this, you'll notice over time, you'll have some really great improvement because you're commanding your body in theta state, right? Theta is the peak state to enter the God mind, your true higher self, right? When you're in that particular state. This is why theta healing is quite well received as well too, because that's the state that you're entering to communicate with a higher self, with your God mind, right? So again, look into that. That's something that can really be a benefit. But yeah, as I said, it's all about people and their preference. Some people really like medical science and they want to work with medical science, go for it, right? If that's what's bringing you excitement, then go for it and explore it, right? But you also have the ability to completely heal your body without having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars on medical expenses or pills or whatever it may be, right? You have the ability to give a devotion and investment of time within yourself to do that, okay? Oh, sorry, I'm not sure if that question was for Adronis, but I guess I answered it for him. Is it possible, here's one from Stephanie, is it possible to move the dense energies around your body, almost like shaking them loose? Well, let me bring Adronis in and he can comment on that one for Stephanie, right? Is it possible to move the dense energies around your body, almost like shaking them loose? One moment. We thank you very much, Stephanie, for your question. We will state that yes, it is absolutely possible to shake them loose in that sense. But again, the whole idea is that you're convincing yourself that this is actually doing an effect. So again, you may discover in different forms of traditions that there's actually certain levels of dancing, or again, certain levels of movement that come together to actually purge forms of impurities out of the body. But if you therefore convince your body that as soon as you start shaking in that way, you're actually shaking the, shall we say, stagnant chi, stagnant energy out of your body, and then sweeping it out, then again, that's a command that you're giving. If you buy into that idea, then that is something that will come together into fruition. Here's the thing, everybody. When you're looking into the aspect of reattuning yourself, give yourself the ability of commands that you know will work for your body, for your energy, and for yourself. That's all it takes here. It is actually quite simple to remove all forms of parasites, pathogens, viruses out of your body when you learn to commune with the body. That's how it works. Just talk to the body. Ask your liver, ask your kidneys, ask your lungs, ask your heart, ask every part of your body how it's doing. How is it feeling health-wise? And just feel that response as you go deeper into the theta state. And now you create some type of conjuring of a command that you put forward that you know is valid to allow that energy to flush out. We can basically say this, that altogether, yes, you have the ability to work together with your medical fields, to work together with your doctors all together, and that can also assist in some ways of healing. Is that absolutely necessary for everybody to do? No, not in the least. In reality, in the aspect about how you're looking into yourselves as a being, you don't need a doctor at all. Period. If you are able to train yourself to be your own healing doctor, to be your own energy provider, your own energy cultivator, and your own energy sanitizer, you have the ability to completely heal yourself without even once going to a doctor for anything. If you're able to completely commit to that practice. So please pay attention here. With anything that your body is going through, with that communion and relationship that you're connecting together with the body, you are able to completely heal everything. Adronis, cancer, yes. Broken bones, yes. Backaches, yes. Headaches, yes. Regrow teeth, yes. Everything. Because again, you're communicating with all of the sectors, all of the areas within your body that are therefore pointing you to the direction, saying, oh, you want to regrow your teeth? All right, well, talk to your gums. Talk to this area in the brain and work together in regrowing the teeth. It's not going to happen overnight, but again, it's going to begin the process if you're checking up on it on a daily basis. Because now we know we'll get lots of people that are questioning, oh, Jonas, is it possible we can regrow our teeth? Is it possible we can grow our teeth? Yes. Yes. 100%. However, commit to your body. Form a relationship with your body. Allow yourself to feel the teeth actually growing back. Your body has the memory to do this. You are simply tapping into the theta level of allowing the akasha within your body to respond to your commands. If there are any difficulties that are preventing you from utilizing that particular state of being that is not able to bring about that result, it's because something else is pointing you into a direction that needs to be resolved first, so that something like that can happen. Again, we have talked about this previously. We have talked about this in the Unleashing God Mind presentation. Look into that again from what we have shared. But yes, everything can be completely engineered, can be completely re-edited, can be completely revitalized back into your own health when you create a deep level communion with your body. 100%. That is what we want to share with you rather emphatically in that idea, because that's what you're capable of as a God. We thank you. All right. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this broadcast today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of your questions and for all of your comments and your feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. So again, join us next month where we'll have another free Adronis channeling presentation here on YouTube live stream. And of course, before we go, again, check out the offer, New Earth Teachings. Again, when you grab any session, you'll be able to get a 20% discount when you type in the words Adronis20 into the enter a promo code box there. And again, the coupon is available until Monday, August 6th. So Spiral Akashic viewings, private sessions, email questions, Akashic sessions, the EQ method, etc. All of that is available for discount, 20% discount, and again, available to Monday. All right. Thank you again, everybody, and I will see you again next month for our next free presentation. Much love to you all. Have a wonderful weekend wherever you are, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care.